Hello, welcome to Studio Pixel. In this tutorial, we are going to discuss about the particle cache in Blender. Now, particle cache or the word cache is a very common term in the 3D application throughout the world. The cache is something which actually stores a temporary or permanent information regarding simulations like particle simulations or soft body, rigid body, or even fluid. So let's see how the cache things works in Blender. So I have created a very simple setup, one fountain sort of setup. I would like to tell you about this one because some people might wonder that how the things will work and all. So this is something I have created one shape through curve, and then I use the screw modifier. And why I'm actually explaining this is if you are using something like this, some model which has been coming from the curve, you cannot use particles, you cannot apply particles on top of this particular object. The reason behind that, these are still being calculated as curve, so you have to convert them into a polygon. Though if you hit Z, you can see the polygons are out there, but still they are not actually being calculated as polygon. This is just something extra. This is not related to cache, but I just like to tell you because I discovered it way back when I was starting working on this. So you have to do object and convert to mesh from curve or meta surface or text. So if you apply this, the hotkey is Alt C. If you apply this, immediately you can see the particle systems are activated. So though I have created another object on top of, is a very small UV sphere which I'm going to use to simulate the particles or the emit the particles. Okay, so now come back to the point. If I select this object and go to the particle and hit new, there's an entire new particle system will create, and there are a lot of different options. And if you close every options out there like physics or render or emission, you'll see cache is the second one. Why I am actually taking so much time of for this cache things. Cache is a very important thing where while you are actually creating a large scale particle simulation or a soft body rigid body calculation. So just open the cache menu and you will see that there are very few buttons, like 6 buttons are out there, and there are others, very few options are out there. So I will discuss almost every one of them, which half of them are actually self-explanatory, but still I will going to discuss about them. So first of all, what exactly cache is going to work. The cache actually works whenever you are actually playing this simulation. Let's suppose I just play this simulation. It started simulating, but this is not exactly what I am trying to show. I mean, it's a very basic simulation, just emitting the particles. But you will see, and at the timeline, there's a red line which actually came up. One is a very light red, another one is very dark red, a little darker than the previous one. The light red means these are the frames that it need to calculate. So these are the frames which are available for the calculation, and this dark red is actually showing that how much simulation has been calculated. But these simulations are temporarily stored in the memory, in your RAM. If you see that 68 frames, you can see, if you see this 68 till 68, this is 68 frame. So 68 frame are in the memory. They are not saved permanently, but they are inside the memory or the RAM. Now this is something which is really interesting, that that's why some people say that for the large amount of particles you need a lot of RAM. Now this is the reason they say this, that you need a lot of memory power, so that the simulation that has been calculated, it can store temporarily inside your RAM. Though we can actually permanently save these information, that I will show you. and that will come under the disk cache. So how the disk cache actually works is sometimes a disk cache is actually sometimes which you are actually saving inside your hard drive. And let me tell you one very important point, that sometimes people see that this disk cache option is not activated, exactly like this use lib or library path. So this is not activated, and that the reason is that your file is not being saved. If your file is not being saved, that means you cannot save into the disk, because it the Blender doesn't understand where to save, and there is no option for that. And if you turn on the disk cache, now you can use the use library path. That means where exactly my files are actually being saved. Right now I have saved this file somewhere in my hard drive, and this is where its name is Untitled, and immediately inside that there is a plain cache Untitled file has been created. So these are the files. This is the destination where the files is going to save the simulation calculation. So what I'm going to do is I rewind this, and this time I will use some initial velocity on the z-axis so that it will look like somewhat like a fountain. Yeah. So now this particular simulation is actually saving inside my memory. Now first time it will take a little bit of time, and after that it's constantly taking the information from my memory. Now that's where my RAM is going to use constantly while simulating all those a particle system or any other soft body or rigid body simulations, so any kind of simulations. So that is very important, that how much memory you are going to use, how much memory you are going to save. Now that things comes into the cache step. This is very interesting. Now cache step means how many frames that I'm going to use for the for saving my for saving the simulation. Now I can increase this number to till around let's say 10, and if I rewind this, and immediately you can see the red line has been gone, the dark red line has been gone, and also there are 0 frames in the memory because I have changed my cache steps, and this is because something has been changed, and that's why the Blender see that we need to save the new new cache because some settings has been changed. Now if we play, you can see that the constant red line has not been there, and there is a dot on each and every 10th frame because my cache step is 10. Now through this way you can actually save a lot of memory, a lot of RAM power while playing the simulation. This is really important, and you need to understand that how much I should go to skip the steps. So this is really important while you are handling a large number of simulations. Okay, now comes to the disk cache again. If I am, let's suppose I am removing, I'm just taking it one step, and I'm also renaming it as fountain. Okay, now and I'm going to use the disk cache. Now this time if I play, first time it might play in a very jaggy way, but after that, yeah, right now it is actually, you see, 250 frames on disk. Now this thing is actually been saved inside the hard drive that you are, and also in the near the folder that you have actually saved your file, your blend file. So if you go to the blend file, this is my blend file. I saved it as Untitled, and here you can see the blend cache underscore untitled, and inside that you can see this is a fountain file, the cache file that has been stored. There are 250 files has been saved. Now this is really interesting because this is exactly matches with this information that has been shown. Now here is also one more thing that I'd like to say, that I can increase this cache steps, and then again I can override this by playing the simulation again. And what will happen is that now you can see there are only 25 frames on the disk, which means the total number is 250, and I have increased the cache step to 10, so that's why the only 25 frames has been saved. And that's why you can actually save a lot of storage also while handling a large number of files. So this is really important to understand while you are actually handling a large. So whenever you are actually using a lot more than one simulation or 2-3 simulations playing simultaneously inside your scene, like some volumetric, maybe some soft body, rigid body, or something like that. So what you can do is you can actually skip these cache steps a little, and you can save a lot of memory, a lot of storage, and also a lot of time. But one thing you have to be very careful, that this kind of cache steps, skipping the cache steps, will also lead towards not so convincing results. So do not do this, or do not bake this unless you are absolutely happy with your results. So if I go to cache steps to 1, and then I go back to play, and I'm very much happy with this, then what I will do is I will use the term called bake, the first button that you can actually seen over here. Now what is actually happening when you are hitting bake? Bake means your information of the simulation is permanent, and you are not going to change anything, and you are very much happy with the output. So you hit bake and it will be permanent. So you see that it took the information, and it's permanently finalized. Now you can actually play it, and every time you will see the same simulation is coming as a result. Now you can free the break. Now the funny part is you cannot use the emission and velocity anymore, because your simulation is actually been permanent, so you cannot change any of the information. But if you want to, you can just you have to hit the break free bake button. Now what about the disk cache, what has been saved? That you can use the current cache to bake. So it's not like that every time it is taking from the memory, but the current cache that has been used on the disk, that also you can use for the baking. So current cache to bake means that has been taken from the disk that you have already been saved as a disk cache from your library path. Okay, so this is really interesting one. Another one which is really fun to use is that let's suppose you free the break, okay, and after that you change your steps. Now calculate 2 frame. This is really interesting, that I'm right now at 56th frame. So you want to save or simulate and save your cache till that particular frame. So this is very self-explanatory, that calculate till frame. So what will happen is rest of your cache will be deleted. So 56 frames are on disk right now. So all the information that you had earlier will be truncated, and it will be deleted, and only till this particular frame it will be stored. So this is really sometimes very tricky, and you can use this to save a lot of memory. So, and these three buttons are really easy to understand. That bake all dynamics, that means if there is a multiple number of dynamics simulations are inside your scene, then all will be baked at a time. And free all bakes will be self-explanatory, exactly opposite to the bake all dynamics, that it will break unbake the all the dynamics. And so update all to frame means that all the physics will be updated for that particular frame. If you are using any simulation, if you are using any cache files, everything will be updated to the frame. So from 0 to 56. So these three are the very basic buttons that we are going to use. Okay, so now we will see how the external cache actually works. So what I will do is I will just delete all this all the old one. I'll create a new one and select this and delete this one and rename this fountain as well, because this is very important. If your file name, the name of the cache doesn't match with the particle system, then it won't actually work. So what I will do is I will replay this one. Okay, sorry, I have to make it one. Okay, turn on the disk cache and play. So first of all, what you have to do is you have to play this one, and also I will bake this simulation, so it will taking the simulation from the disk, and this has been saved. Now what I will do is I will call the external one. So I will turn on the external, and you will see there's the index number showing up. Now why this is index number is very important. Let me show you. If you turn on the folder, you will see there are indexing, a lot of different kind of indexing files, like some are with 0, some are with 12, some are with 11. The reason is that 11 and 12 are the one which I actually created later on. So which one I should take? By default, when you actually accept this one, it will take the last one. So you can see the 1000 points are found. If you go back to the 11 one, you say it's only 3 points found. That means that its simulation has been lost, so that is not been updated one. Even if you go to 0, it also say only 3 points are found. So this is really interesting. You have to remember. So you have to match the index number with the information that has been saved. That means you have baked it already. Now if you play this, now this is actually taking from the file that has been saved in your hard drive. If you go back and change the index number to 0, which is only showing 3 points has been found, if you play the simulation, you only can see it's 1. I don't know how the second one goes, and no more. Okay, so the actual thing is that means the indexing is really important over here, and that also should match with your saved files. So this is the external cache system that you need to take care. Another one is the compression. Compression is just to save your size of the file size. You can use either without any compression or light or heavy compression, which is completely self-explanatory. So that's it for the cache system in Blender. I hope you enjoyed this. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us in Facebook and Twitter. Thank you very much.